interior roadway, that type of stuff. No advertising signs are permitted on the property other than identifying the business and use. And it does allow one dwelling unit permitted on site as an accessory use, and the dwelling unit shall be occupied by an on-site manager of the mini warehouse self-storage business.
All right. Sounds good. Are there any edits or changes or suggestions or discussion? All right, then, so there being none, if there could be a motion to recommend the text amendment changes reflected on the screen and read by Mr. Paradise with the, for conditional use in industrial zoning district.
I move to approve RZT 25-002 and recommend sending that text amendment in its entirety to City Council for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you, Mr. Paradise. And we could move to the next text amendment recommendation, please, with regards to halo lighting.
This is halo illumination in a text amendment to allow halo illuminated signage in the downtown mixed use 1 and downtown mixed use 2 zoning districts. It also provides for a recommendation for a definition of what halo signage is. I tried to capture what the, this is halo signing as we had discussed it. The halo signing would be the recommendation has certain conditions. And one of those conditions is it'd be between 4,000 and 6,000 K. That would be getting that white light. It would have to be white. And it's not allowed to change colors or temperatures or give the appearance of changing colors. That's downtown mixed use. This is what I'm recommending for definition. Give y'all a chance to read that. And then this would be amending section 9.6.3B. Right now it says signs shall not be internally illuminated. This is 9.6.3 regulates signage in downtown mixed use districts. So right now it says shall not be internally illuminated. We would add except by halo illumination with the following conditions. One is that it be white or soft white, temperature not less than 4,000 or 6,000, trying to capture that color range that y'all talked about last time. And be clear that it can't change colors or temperatures or give the appearance of changing colors or temperatures. Now, there's some things that we had talked about but we didn't talk about last time that you may or you may not want to add. This is what I think y'all was my marching orders. On this, I'm not sure if it is or if it isn't. There was we had discussed some of it, but I hadn't got, how y'all wanted to do that. So that may or may not be some conditions you want to add to it. Do you want to require them to turn off half an hour after the business closes? Do you want is it all right for them to be on a channel, on a raceway? Or do you want the individual letters on the wall where they're individually mounted? Do you want to specify that there be 1 to 2 inches from the building facade? Is that something you want in there? And do you want to do anything about the finishes? This is some information I had gotten and I had sent out to y'all in an email some months back. And where the plastic faces, highly reflective, aren't allowed. and you have brushed aluminum, bronze, matte black, kind of that as finishes. You may not want to do any of that. That was a question that I wanted to ask because it wasn't the focus of discussion last month, and I want to make sure I get what y'all want in
So,
I thought it was complicated before.
So let's go one by one, and that way we can keep it. And kind of decide. Okay. All right. So, were you gonna say something? Okay. We're gonna number one. So hours of illumination. I think you just mentioned, for example, within 30 minutes of closing, as an example. If there are any other thoughts, or if you think that we don't need that, do need that, hadn't really thought of it.
when I was reading, and I wasn't here last week, but or last month, but I replayed the meeting. But I'm kind of for if they want to leave them on just for safety, because this is our downtown area. I think it looks kind of nice if you drive through. If you're driving through downtown at 3 in the morning, and we know we're going to have more traffic. If we limit the hours, obviously, if the business wants to cut it off, that's fine because that's their bill. But if we allow them to leave it on just from whatever street lighting we have in addition, because I did see that was kind of left open ended. I'm a fan of if they want to stay on, they can.
I agree. Yep.
All right, so no need for hours of illumination. All right, then the second being mounting and design standards. So let's go with A, that it must be individually mounted. Letters or logos, cabinet box or raceway mounted are prohibited. I personally don't have a problem with cabinet.
Yeah, I don't think that bothers me either. Because I know that like the raceway, that's kind of where it has like the line at the bottom and the letters are individual on top of that.
Because I think the public safety sign
Right,
has that,
it's
and I
done
think
like
they
that.
said it was easier. There
To
was
run
some
the wiring or
maintenance. It was
something.
easier for the business, and I don't think that looks bad at all.
Well, that makes sense because then if it's individual letters, you have to have power coming through
Right.
the wall for every letter. Where if it's all
correct.
connected, yeah, I say I'm fine with having raceway or whatnot.
Okay. All right, and so then, so no need to call that out. And then, any interest in that, it must be installed 1 to 2 inches from the building facade.
Is that kind of the distance that the sign company said that they usually go with?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't remember specifically talking about that, but there was a lot of discussion that was had. So, I mean, I think if I'm not the one to say this is what it should be, as long as that's the working standard of what it is.
I think I guess the concern is maybe if it's flushed, if it's too narrow, then it looking like it's maybe neon as opposed to the halo effect. Is that the thought behind it?
It is. It's
Okay.
to make sure that it stays fairly close to the building and all the lights coming out from around it,
Okay.
and that it's illuminating kind of a tight shape.
Okay. So that I said it the opposite. So that it's not so like 6 inches off,
Right.
and the illumination is such that it looks like it's a neon sign. That's I think. Okay, so I think there is some consensus around maybe requiring it between, or do we need to say no
A
more than
max
2 inches?
yeah,
No
that's
more
what
than
it's-
2 inches from the building facade.
I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, and then the next is acceptable finishes include brushed aluminum, bronze, matte black, or similar non-reflective, historically compatible material.
I think there's probably some interpretation into historically compatible materials, but I like that because I think as long as it fits into the look, like you said, not like a shiny mirrored finish necessarily. I like that verbiage.
Now, let me ask this though: what about so then that means the letters themselves could not be white? Is that? Are you talking about the finishes on the letters themselves or the?
The finishes on the letters itself. Correct.
Okay, because then they would not be. So then white would not be under. Yeah. Can you go back to the examples? Because I think some of the examples we looked at were actually white or.
I mean, I would think
Oh,
a
'cause-
white lettering on a dark building would be more visible in the daytime. So I'd hate to prevent somebody from having something whose sign wasn't as
See,
visible.
white oak,
Yeah.
white oak when it was white. So.
If it was against a red brick, that would be more visible than a darker finish.
I personally think it
daytime.
makes sense to add the next one versus sort of boxing them in on a finish type. Maybe just make sure that the transparency is what we're after, as opposed to making them do certain kinds of things. Because I agree with Bob that I think you're just going to end up with people who have to make bad design choices because they're boxed in. But instead of making it a required finish, just make sure it's not highly reflective.
Yeah, I think the not highly reflective, because I think all of them are probably big plastic. I mean, I don't know what's not made out of plastic. Are some of them made out? Yeah. Oh, they're not plastic. Okay. So is there a problem with plastic?
The ones he brought were metal, weren't they?
Yeah, they were metal.
Typical of the, yeah.
I think your higher end are metal. Remember, you're gonna have that heat in there.
It was a heat and fading. I don't know that the plastic, yeah, that would be,
Okay.
do we say material instead of color?
So I think we could
Just skip C.
just go C and D, just do plastic faces or highly reflective surfaces.
I like it.
What was that again?
So we're not gonna, so we'll remove C rather as an option and just adopt D. So I can summarize what we've decided upon. So our interest in restrictions include signs must be installed no more than 2 inches from the building facade to learn for proper halo protection. And plastic faces or highly reflective surfaces are prohibited. Okay.
B and D.
Yes.
Do we add back in historically compatible materials into D or leave it out? Just to have a little more,
That always gives you some extra room to determine if something is not. But I don't.
Then you get into what is historically
Right.
materials. I think what y'all have is fine.
Okay. So then we'll just go with B and C. So the changes as recommended with the addition of, with the conditions being only B and C. D, I'm
B and D.
sorry. Yeah, B and D.
So you'd have 1 and 2 from here, and then B and D from the other.
Yep.
Gotcha.
All right. Were there any other thoughts or changes? Okay. Hmm? Yes. So that being said, if we could please have a motion.
I will make a motion for the approval for the proposed text amendment for RZT 25-003 with, let me see, the changes for only B and D.
And getting rid of
It's removing the time limit and then A and C. Or, yes, A and C.
in the first condition around hours of use.
Yeah, I missed it. Yes, removing the conditions around hours of use.
All right. So the condition. All right. So is that clear enough for you?
We amend 9.6.3 is what's on the slide now,
Right.
and then we add B and we add D.
Correct.
Correct.
It's 3 and 4.
Right. Is the only other condition.
I'm with you, boss.
All right.
well, are we amending A also that because it says cabinet box or raceway are prohibited, we're saying we're okay with leaving it.
Mhm.
So they're,
Yeah, we're fine with that.
okay.
All right. So for clarification, let's try it one more time. All right.
All right, so I make a recommendation to for RZT 25-003 text amendment for the Halo illuminated signs, and that was. Would you go back to that screen with the numbers, the 9.6.3? Thank you. With the conditions for we're going to scrap A. This is all kinds of messed up. I apologize. We're going to scrap the time limitations, and we're going to keep B and D.
So, Okay, then I think what
Maybe somebody else needs to take a
No,
shot.
no, no. So I think a way to say it may be that the sign, so staff recommended text agreement with the conditions as they appear, with the sections as proposed, including signs must be installed no greater than 2 inches from the building facade to align for proper halo projection, and that they only, and that plastic faces or highly reflective surfaces are prohibited.
And do you want to recommend the definition as well?
Yes, and yes, and add in the
Yeah.
definition.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so then if I could have a motion for what I just said.
So do I got to repeat all that?
No,
again?
just say so moved.
Yes, thank you.
No, so we'll take so moved.
And a second.
Okay, all right. So it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, thank you.
Quoting the text.
All right, so now we're on to MSP 24-06, 016, and MW 25-004, site plan and a waiver request by Evans Development Company. Mr. Paradise, is there anything you'd like to share with us about this site plan and waiver request?
Yes, ma'am. This project affects .05 acres of zone land development in the Sweetwater area at exit 5, 120 Stevens Farm Lane. The applicant this is the subject parcel. You can see it's right behind what used to be Checkers. And this, there's another coffee shop that's going in here. This used to be one parcel and it was subdivided into 2 parcels. They want to put a retail store here with a couple of tenant spaces. This is the layout. It meets all of the requirements except for the setbacks. And if you look at the rear corners of the building, they're required to be 20 feet from the property line. And they're only 9.5 to 10. So they'd like a waiver from that to allow it to be constructed as it is to fit that site.
Any questions for Mr. Paradise before we have the applicant come forward?
I do not.
Okay. All right, if the applicant could please come forward and please give your name and address into the microphone. And what we'll do is if there are, after you make your presentations, we'll ask questions. And if there are any members from the community that have any questions for you, we'll ask them to come up, do all of their questions, and then ask you to come up and respond to all of the questions from the community at one time.
Okay.
All right, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight. I'm Bill Corder with Blue Water Engineering. Our office address is 4210 Columbia Road, Martinez, and we're here on behalf of Evans Development, the applicant. As Mr. Paradise said, this tract was once one parcel with what was the Checkers parcel. And as you know, the Sweetwater PD's been around for a long time. They didn't have a plan for every site. So what happened is the Checkers property was developed on the front part of the parcel, and nothing was developed on the rear part of the parcel. And prior to Checkers selling the site to Caribou Coffee, they wanted to find something to do with the rear part of the parcel that was undeveloped. It was a bit awkward because it's a small tract. It's a little bit unusual shape. And so our client was interested in the property. We worked with the planning department, or the planning staff. They were great in helping us try to fit something on the site. The challenge with this site was it was so small to be able to fit, an appropriate size retail building and enough parking. Things were a bit tight. So we're asking, in addition to approval of the site plan, for some relief on the setbacks on the one side and the rear of the building. The rear of the building, actually the majority of it complies with the setback requirements or at least part of it, it's sort of an angle on the property line. So one end of the building complies with the 20 feet, the other end is a little bit shy. But we feel like, this is probably the best fit for the site. Another thing that you won't see on the plan, one challenge with this area is the original developer of this PD built a stormwater pond to cover storm drainage for this area. And that wouldn't drain by gravity, so it had to be pumped. And at some point, they, I guess, decided they'd made their money and they went on their merry way and they quit paying the power bill. The pond grew up. So the developer for this site actually purchased the pond from a third party. They've cleaned the pond up. They've got the power restored. They've got the pump working and the pond functional again. In part, so that they wouldn't have to have an underground detention system on their site, but also through discussions with the city just wanting to be a good neighbor and try to get the problem resolved. So I wanted you to be aware of that. So that's pretty much the background and what we're asking for. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Madam Chairman, if I could say something else about the pond. That is a pond for that development, not just this parcel, but for this development. And it is a pond that we have been struggling with for a couple of years now.
Where is the pond?
Kind of beside Holiday Inn Express.
Okay,
This is going straight back.
not on that parcel, that picture or whatever.
I was just looking it up. Did you go straight in? The square footage of this building, because it is kind of a small lot, ballpark, because the plans I can't read, they're too small.
I think it's about 7,500 square feet.
And there'll be enough parking for it?
Yes.
It is. We meet the parking requirements for the site based on the use and the square footage of the building. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. Is not 7,500, it is 4,728. So a little less than 5,000 square feet.
On this contour map, you can see where the pond is.
Now, the pond is off-site. It's actually a separate parcel, and it wasn't a part of the permitted drawings, although we addressed in our stormwater study the fact that that pond, once it was restored and functional again, would serve for stormwater detention, not only for this site, but for the larger area as well.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Porter?
Is it 2 or 3 units that it's going to be subdivided? That hadn't been determined yet.
I don't know that the final architectural is confirmed. A lot of times on the retail spaces, it kind of depends on tenant uses and that kind of thing. It could be all one single tenant. Thank you.
Are there any members from the community that have questions or concerns? All right. There being none, any further conversation?
I mean, the waiver is really just that back one corner on that weird angle, right? And looking at the map, basically it backs up to the trash can for Zaxby's. There's nothing going on back there,
It's both of the corners.
both
Yeah.
corners.
That other corner gets, I think, close to the side.
Because my concern is just with the plan for the PUD that it doesn't interfere with the landscape. And I know you've got it noted that it doesn't affect the buffering and landscape requirements. So.
I don't love the dead end parking, and I wish there was connectivity amongst all of those parcels, but I don't know that that is an option for it.
Yes, the connectivity with Caribou Coffee, I think it is. Yeah, that's already existing, so it's not there. The one next to it on the right, those are already established. So There is connectivity there. The road in front, um, goes around and connects back to Stevens Farm Road. So you do have that connection there, and there's, in the works, a traffic light for that intersection. So that should help some with the traffic as well. But they can all go all the way down to Walnut if they wanted to use that light to get out.
What has the fire department said about? Are they okay? Have they looked at the site plan? Has it been through?
They have.
Access is all good for them?
Yes, sir.
There are no other questions? Is there a motion? So if you could go back to the main screen, the first for us, please. All right, so need, I guess, an acceptance of the site plan and then a motion with regards to the waiver request for the setbacks?
I will try this again. I promise I can do it better.
You can.
Make a motion to recommend the approval of the site plan for this MSP 24-016 Sweetwater Retail with the conditions of the waiver for reduction of the setback requirements and all outstanding comments to be addressed to the satisfaction of city staff.
Second.
All right. Ms. Paradise, is that all that you needed to make sure?
I believe so.
Okay. All right. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Paradise, any comments about the staff report?
Well, I do want to tell y'all a couple of things. Remind you that we have a joint meeting with City Council Monday at 5 o'clock. We'll be leaving here on the trolley. The should last a good 2 hours, the trolley ride. I drove it in the car, and it's an hour and 40 minutes in the car without stopping and talking. So we got a lot to look at on Monday evening. Then the other thing is next month, I believe it may start next month. Staff has gotten together with the city clerk about our minutes, and we're looking at trying to make all of our minutes look alike. So that y'all's minutes would be more in line with what's done for city council. City council's in line with what the BZA does and that type of thing. So I'll tell you that so that if you get your minutes next month and they look a tad bit different, that's what's going on. And hopefully, there's not any objections to that standardization of the minutes. And that as far as what we got going on, I don't know a better way to present that to you is wait till Monday evening. But I do appreciate all y'all's help, and y'all have any questions for me.
So as always, we thank you and your team for all that you all do, and we are looking forward to what sounds like it will be a busy and certainly, I think, great opportunity for us to learn and to spend time with council. I was going to say county. Did you want to, I think, share, or did we do that the last time around, the continuing ed?
Well, I did check, and Ms. Wetmore is not available for that when we had scheduled it. So it looks like we're going to have to go with the old-fashioned CDs for 3 hours.
And so for,
Same day, same night, same time, same channel.
and so I appreciate you all's patience because they have changed it. And so you have to watch the video together in person. You are not allowed to do it unsupervised as we were before. So, right. So we will be sitting together so we can pretend it's a movie for 3 hours on that date instead. The good news being when we do, we'll still schedule the in person the way that we've done it last year as early as possible, and then we will be done for the subsequent year. So we'll go ahead and knock both out the way. But, just think of it as a planning commission and BZA movie. All right. All right. If there's no other business, then I will